Look at this beautiful bread. This is challah bread, and it makes a really excellent French toast. You can see it's kind of shiny. It actually has more eggs in it than a regular bread would. And I'm going to show you how to make this French toast. Let's get started now. It's best to use bread that's a couple days old, that's starting to dry out. And I bought this bread fresh, and so what I'm going to do is slice it in 3/4 inch slices, and I'm actually going to bake it for 10 minutes just to dry it out, which when it's drier it will absorb the egg mixture better. So I'm just going to make sure that it does that. Okay, this challah actually has some raisins in it, golden raisins and regular raisins, which is fine. And so I'm going to show you how I do that, but if you want, you can skip that step or just let your challah bread dry out on its own. I'm putting the sliced bread on a dry cookie sheet, baking sheet, and I've preheated the oven to 350 degrees, and I'm going to bake it for 10 minutes, and halfway through at the 5-minute mark, I'm going to turn the bread over. Into a large bowl, I'm going to put 3 eggs, and this is a small version of this recipe, by the way. You can double this. So 3 eggs, 3/4 cup of milk. I'm using almond milk, 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then in this dish I have a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a pinch of nutmeg, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Then I'm going to whisk it really well. But if you want, you can put this into your blender and blend it if that's easier for you, or if you don't have a whisk. That's pretty good. And now I'm going to put it into a shallow dish where the bread will be dipped. Next, in some kind of a shallow dish, pour some of the egg mixture. You don't have to put it all. And then we're going to put in a few pieces of the challah bread and let them soak for about a minute or 2 on each side. And meanwhile, over here, I'm going to heat up over medium heat about a tablespoon, maybe about a tablespoon of butter. So you can always add more. So put it on medium heat and let that melt. And I won't keep this on for the whole minute, but I will be flipping the bread. After a minute or 2, you can flip the bread over. If you did the oven method to dry it out, you don't have to do it while it's warm. You can let it cool down a little bit, so you can do this ahead of time. And I'll do another minute or 2 on this side while the butter's melting. Alright, the butter's melted, and now I'm going to put this bread over. I actually got involved in something else, and they probably soaked for a little longer than they should. So now they're going to cook in a pan for 2 to 3 minutes per side. So after 2 minutes, check them to see if they're cooked yet, and if they're not, then go ahead and add a little more time. When it's done on the first side, flip it over. This is a lot of butter, by the way, now that I look at it. I probably would use less butter. And then cook it for another 2 or 3 minutes. Before I go on, just a quick piece of advice. If you're making this challah French toast for a crowd, and you're just cooking a few at a time, and you want to keep them warm, you can put them on a platter of some type that's oven safe and put it in a warm oven, not a hot oven. And that will keep the French toast warm while you're cooking the rest. When it's done, serve it up on a plate. I like this just with regular maple syrup, not the fake stuff, the real stuff. But you can use fruit, you can use strawberries, you can sprinkle it with some powdered sugar, whatever you want. So that's how you make challah bread French toast.